Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and today we're talking about the 2022 Senate elections again. And, we're talking about three races, one in North Carolina, one in Ohio, and one in North Dakota. North Dakota first, then we'll talk about Ohio. And I've already done a little bit of discussion about Ohio back when Rob Portman announced he was going to retire. So, yeah. But we're going to start with North Carolina, the Tar Heel state. And if we zoom in, North Carolina is really inelastic, and it takes a lot to get it to move in one direction or the other, despite it being a very fast-growing state. One of the few states to actually gain a congressional district this cycle, this census. Of course, the current incumbent, Richard Burr, is retiring, and you've got the most notable candidate so far who has announced is Pat McCrory, the former governor of North Carolina. And that said, the most hyped candidate, or the most discussed candidate, has not declared, and that's Laura Trump. And yeah, it's gonna be that's gonna be a wild one if that actually happens. Former lieutenant governor of North Carolina and the Republican nominee for governor this past cycle, Dan Forest, might run. I'm skeptical he'd be a good potential nominee. I'd say that McCrory is probably the best bet, but don't entirely know. On the Democratic side, you've got Sherry Beasley, the former Chief Justice of North Carolina Supreme Court. She held that position for all of 1 year. Just tell you everything you need to know about that. State Senator Jeff Jackson, a mayor, and two relative unknowns. A former representative might run, but the current governor of North Carolina has declined, and that's Roy Cooper. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This is probably, by most metrics, a toss-up or a battleground race. But this should be a year that's favorable to Republicans. And North Carolina Republicans have historically been very good at getting turnout, except in the governor's race recently. So I'm going to tilt this towards the Republicans just because I genuinely see them carrying this seat, all things being equal. Now we move on to North Dakota, and I'm going to be 100% honest. John Hooven, he is the he's the incumbent senator, and I don't really see him losing either a primary or the general election. There's only one potential person listed for the Democrats / North Dakota, whatever their Midwestern weird party is. Because, for example, in Minnesota, you have the Farmer Labor Party, which is kind of in a permanent merger with the Democratic Party in this area. And yeah, I don't see I don't even know who the person is. Apparently, Pyre was a candidate for Senate in 2018, but Obviously, you were going to you were going to lose the primary to Heitkamp. So, again, I don't know who that is, and that should tell you all you really need to know. That's pretty much dead safe. Nothing to really discuss there. And now we move on to Ohio, which is kind of not really a bellwether state anymore. Obviously, this is a seat that Rob Portman retired from, and even on the Republican side, there's quite a few candidates already declared. Mike Gibbons, who was a candidate on the Republican side in 2018 for Senate. Josh Mandel, nominee. I want to say that was no, it wasn't a previous time. A nominee for the Senate in 2012. I think he lost that. And he's a former Ohio State treasurer. It's kind of a dull list outside of that, though. Looking at it, going further, a few representatives, and then nominee from 2018, Jim Renacci, might run, but I think he's a pretty poor candidate. There's quite a lot of people who've declined running. John Kasich, for example. Obviously, Portman isn't going to run. He's retiring. And yeah, that should pretty much tell you quite a few things. And then we move on to the Democratic primary. One candidate has declared already, and that's Tim Ryan, the representative for Ohio 13, the representative for Ohio 13, formerly of Ohio 17. And one of the few Democrats who can actually win in Trump country. A few other candidates have expressed some interest or listed as potential, but wait, really? But I'm just kind of like, are you really gonna go? Apparently, Jerry Springer is listed as a potential candidate. Former mayor of Cincinnati. That's kind of an interesting one. A few of the declined candidates include Mayor of Columbus, the current mayor of Cincinnati, who might run for governor. Freaking LeBron James. That one's interesting. Nina Turner. Really? Yeah, it's kind of like... That said, Tim Ryan is already collecting basically most endorsements for the Democrats, which I think that indicates that it's definitely... I think that Tim Ryan is probably going to win a primary, but Ohio as a whole might just be a touch too red for even Tim Ryan to overcome. That said, Tim Ryan is a nominee. It's going to be more competitive than it otherwise would be, especially in a Republican favorable year. I'm going to actually work on the assumption that Tim Ryan is a nominee, so that's why I'm leaning it towards the Republicans, when otherwise I'd probably put it as likely. Now that Tim Ryan has declared, I think that's not unreasonable. Because I made an assumption that Sununu would run in New Hampshire. So that's kind of where I stand on this whole thing. So that's where it's going to be. If you like the content, likes, comments, and subscriptions, they always do help, and I greatly appreciate them. I want to thank everybody for pushing me over 800 subscribers. I greatly appreciate that, and thank you. I do want to try and reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We'll see if that happens. We're less than 200 away now, and hey, it'd be pretty cool to reach that pretty quickly. So let's go. Let's go. Anyway, take it easy, y'all. Have a very nice evening, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.